Hey, Ryan, we're back again with everybody's favorite journey back to some wonderful times. Old friends talking about great times. I mean, who can ask for more from the world?
I couldn't spend a day doing anything I want to do better.
How about this? June of 1994. That's where we find the WWF magazine, Heart Captures the Gold. Now,
Thank you.
You've mentioned in here before 1994 is very important to you. Do you want to say a few words of what 1994 means to you?
1994. Now, wait a minute. 1994 means a lot to me. Because, why? I don't remember
You've
saying
mentioned
that.
in here before how much you love 1994.
I love wrestling?
Just in general, when someone says 1994, you get a little
Is
rush of blood to an appendage or something.
I think 1994 is when I realized that Owen Hart was my favorite wrestler of 1994. I think that's what I remember when I think of 94. Other than that, I don't know what you mean.
Well, it says right here, Owen Hart claiming to be the real champion.
And I thought he was the real champion.
But then when 1995 came along, you lost interest in Owen Hart.
95. What did Owen Hart do in 95?
He started teaming with Yokozuna, right?
See, that's the problem. Once he joined Camp Cornette, I wasn't so sure about it. WrestleFest 94.
When someone says June of 1994 to you, is that the first thing you think of, Owen Hart?
When you just said 1994 to me, the first thing that I thought of was Owen Hart. But also, when you slapped that magazine down,
Yeah.
I was overwhelmed with joy. What I needed to see today was Bret Hart. I needed to see. That is great to me. Just seeing Bret Hart worn down after the match with the belt on, finger out to the fans. Beautiful. The Hitman.
Well, Bret Hart has said he made very few mistakes in the ring. He's famously said that.
I remember. Can we go back one? I'm sorry. I remember this tape. I remember this tape. I don't remember this tape. Do you remember that tape with the WrestleFest rap with the Men on a Mission?
I sure do. I think I have it.
You do have it.
I'm pretty sure.
Can we watch that tape sometime?
Sure.
Nice. Now that I got that out of the way, I took care of my business. I got real excited when I saw that cover.
I have a pretty big collection of VHS tapes from Coliseum Video.
It's rare when I see one that I don't remember.
Yeah. Well, you're a big Detlef Schrempf fan, and there he is with the Sonics.
I am. The greatest six man that ever lived.
And you're a big Randy Savage fan.
Huge.
Yeah.
What's he got there? A camera? Is he selling cameras?
Fan
The
club.
fan club.
10 years since Vincent J. McMahon has passed.
In comparison,
This issue is dedicated to the memory of Vince McMahon's father, Vincent J. McMahon.
that's very nice.
Uh-huh.
On this program, you are our wrestling historian.
I know a little.
I know you do.
I guess the rest.
Vince Sr. against Vince Jr. Is there anything that stands out for like different, like what they liked better in wrestling? What like would Vince Sr. run his wrestling different than a Vince Jr.? Would he run a show different than a Vince Jr.?
The first wrestling that I ever saw was the Vincent K. McMahon, the current Vince McMahon.
Me too.
So just what I know about this Vince McMahon is from stories and the stuff that I've gone back and watched. The first video I ever rented from the video store was the Bloopers, Bleeps, and Body Slams with Lou Albano and Fred Blassie when they have the pie fight at the wedding reception.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's more Vince McMahon's style than Vincent J. McMahon. I don't think Vincent J. McMahon would have had the pie fight at the wedding reception.
Do you think his Vincent J. McMahon, maybe it's an era thing too, the time period, but do you think he had like his wrestling a little more serious?
I think so. One of the things people always say about Vince McMahon right now, this Vince McMahon, is he likes sizzle, whereas some people like the steak. Mm-hmm. Whereas and I think I'm that way with wrestling. I like a good story and a good character more than I will a great scientific wrestling match.
Same.
Yeah.
But you summed that up nicely. Thank you.
That's what they say.
Just for the people out there that maybe never thought of that before, I thought that was a.
I would just like to say, sit back, fasten your seatbelts, and get ready for the new World Wrestling Federation magazine to sharpshoot you into a World Wrestling Federation that you've never known. Signed, Vince Russo.
That's pretty good.
So I guess maybe this is the first issue of Vince Russo taking over the magazine.
He's letting you know. Here's a funny thing. When I used to read a lot of wrestling magazines.
And you still are.
As a kid, and I still am. I'd see something that said like letter from the editor or something like that, and completely skip over it and never read it.
Well, you're a visual person. I think you're controlled by videos and images more than words.
I would assume that this is something that I probably don't need to know.
Is it fair to say that you're controlled by images and videos more than the written word?
I like light and sound.
Okay. Lex Luger taking responsibility.
That's a funny looking Lex Luger. With that plain white shirt and those American flag pants. He looks like he lost a bet.
Yeah. Perfect's grudge. We know Mr. Perfect cost Lex Luger his match with Yokozuna at WrestleMania that year.
When?
He was the special guest referee
At WrestleMania 10?
between Lex Luger and Yokozuna.
I didn't even remember the finish to that match.
Well, that's why you're here, for that great insight.
Well, I didn't know. Sometimes you have to tell me these things.
You know, people always ask me all the time, they'll stop me in like the grocery store and they say, Steve, why is Ryan a part of this show? He's got the do-rag on and he's a little dead behind the eyes and a little dull. And I say, because of insight like that, that's why Ryan's a part of it.
I'll stay for this one.
All right,
this might be the last one. Call me dull.
Well, you've said that
All right.
You've said that people have
Hold
said people have compared
Okay.
you to being a little dead behind the eyes before, right? There's a baby picture of you that I've seen, and you said that you look a little dead-eyed in that picture.
Are we? All right. I'm back.
But you have to agree with that, right?
You said sleepy-eyed.
What did I say?
Dead-eyed.
Well, it's half of one, six of one, half a dozen of the other.
I'm a professional. I'm going to carry on here.
1, 2, 3, kid.
All right. I got nothing to say, but you know I don't like it. We had to have done a show before. We had to have done a whole episode about how much I don't like him.
In every incarnation, Six, X-Pac, all of it. You don't like any of it.
It's like it just kept getting worse.
So by that logic, the best would be the 1, 2, 3 kid. So maybe this version is the best.
The 1, 2, 3 kid that snuck the win over Razor Ramon.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That's magic. That was great. And
how about the
then
Lightning
gone.
Kid when he was in Global? He was the Lightning Kid.
You know,
I think in that match, his trunks even said El Kid because he was the Lightning Kid.
you know what was good? Remember that bit that they did when Barry Horowitz had lost 500 matches, but then he beat Skip from the Body Donnas?
Yes.
And then that went on as like a feud for like a month or two, and then you never saw Barry Horowitz again. That's what should have happened to the 1, 2, 3 kid. Not a 20-year, 25-year career of just shoving Sean Waltman down my throat.
Wow. Those are big words.
Well, he's lucky. He's lucky he friended well.
Where's the beef? Speaking of Sean Waltman, even though the 1, 2, 3 kid is young and gifted as an athlete, his physical appearance leaves a lot to be desired.
Did I write this?
Maybe Vince Russo.
I was gonna say me and Vince Russo. We're like this, bro.
Johnny Polo, manager of the Quebecers, has been known to transform a polo mallet into a foreign object.
Who hired Johnny Polo?
I'm
Who did it?
I'm guessing Vince McMahon. What a interesting career from Johnny Polo to go from Scotty Flamingo to Johnny Polo, where he wasn't even having matches too much.
Run it down.
To Raven.
Scotty Flamingo was supposed to be like the early WCW, like early '90s WCW. They were having like a cruiserweight division. They were trying to bring in some young, fast talent.
Right.
So you go from that to being a manager. You're still fairly young.
Yeah.
Because he's going to go on later to have a long run in like wrestling again.
Totally transform himself in the Raven character.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Very interesting career.
It is.
Yeah. Then you're a big Medusa Alundra Blaze fan. Do you want to say a few words about Alundra Blaze?
I'm a big Medusa fan.
Yeah.
And not a big Alundra Blaze fan. I don't think she was very smart about the way she handled her business. But that said,
Throwing the belt in the trash?
right,
Yeah.
she was a woman in a time where she was a woman that made it in the wrestling business at a time where women weren't really making it very well in the wrestling business. So I give her a lot of credit for that.
And how about Quang?
Who's Quang?
Wasn't Quang a hidden character in one of your wrestling games?
I think it was Raw for Super Nintendo.
You loved it, I know.
And you could unlock, and I spent so many hours
Trying
and
to unlock
days
Quang?
trying to unlock the mystery character, and it ended up being Quang, and I was so disappointed. Who
did you think it was going to be? Bruno Sammartino or somebody?
Like a legend?
Yeah,
I don't think they had thought of that
Yeah,
yet.
probably not.
Quang. But wait, who was Quang?
I thought Quang was Savio Vega,
Oh, okay.
but I think it is. He looks kind of like Savio Vega.
Could be.
You love Super Nintendo.
Super Nintendo, I mean, like, I like Nintendo. I remember when I first got my Nintendo.
When
I've probably told the story here before, and I was playing the controller, and my stepfather was getting so angry with me and yelling at me because every time I would jump Mario, I would literally jump. I would take the controller and go like this. He goes, "You don't have to move the controller." And he would try to explain it to me, but I couldn't understand it. If I wanted to jump back, I'd jump back like this, and I'd be ripping like the Nintendo out of the off the counter and stuff.
you were ahead of the curve, you thought you had like a Wii or something that was like motion controlled. Is that true?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I thought I had a Wii back in 1990.
Is that how the Deadites started?
I probably smacked myself in the face with the Nintendo. But anyway, eventually, and then like I kind of came in late in Nintendo. Nintendo had kind of been around, but you know. Anyway, I got a Super Nintendo.
The NES Nintendo.
The NES,
Yeah.
the original Nintendo. And then when the Super Nintendo came out, I got it like immediately, like as soon as it came out.
When I think about going to your house as a little kid, I Super Nintendo is what I think about because
And
it was
it's
always
so
on.
many games.
Yeah, it seemed to have a lot.
So
of
many
games.
fun games.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was a good time.
Interesting, yeah. And I seem to remember playing Genesis at your house a little bit, but then you said you didn't have a Genesis very long.
I had a Genesis very little, and I remember like Sonic the Hedgehog
Yeah.
for like a day.
Yeah.
It was just, this is the greatest game, and it just
you lost
did not
interest.
hold me at all.
Yeah.
It was not the same as Mario. Mario is king.
Do you like a sweater, like a bulky kind of sweater like that?
Hate it.
Yeah.
Don't want it on me. Don't want to look at it on Jacques Rougeau.
I don't think it's a great look. That bulky kind of sweater.
No. Who pulled it off best? Anyone pop in your mind? that
Probably
wore-
Bill Cosby.
Oh, okay. I didn't have a good one. I was thinking Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but he always was wearing suits, so I don't know why I thought he was in a nice sweater. But he seemed like a big guy that would really fill out a sweater.
I think he had some sweaters occasionally.
Probably.
Main event results: Yokozuna and Bret Hart from WrestleMania 10. I always hated the ending of that. Yokozuna was on the ropes about to do the banzai drop, and then he just collapsed. Like he lost his balance and fell off, and Bret Hart just pinned him.
Bret Hart didn't even do anything about it?
No. Yokozuna was going for the banzai drop, and then he like lost his balance, and then Bret Hart just pinned him.
So Bret Hart got lucky.
Yeah, it was a real anticlimactic ending.
That's funny.
A lot of Bret Hart on this show. Patrick
The
Owen
ultimate
Hart.
sibling rivalry.
You've had that in your lifetime or two, right?
Yeah, probably.
Mm-hmm.
I have a little brother.
Yep.
We go at it every once in a while.
If you like Yokozuna, this is your show.
That's right. Double duty for Yoko. Bret Hart, too.
Yep.
Lex Luger, I don't think they had it in him.
I think a lot of people consider some of the greatest WrestleMania matches to be on this show. The ladder match, Bret and Owen. Those are matches that hold up as far as like people think of being really good ones.
And that's good. I mean, WrestleMania 10 in the Garden was a big show for them, that 10-year anniversary of that
Yeah, sure
WrestleMania.
was.
There wasn't a lot of, there wasn't a ton of star power on this show, though, was it? Like, far as, like, you know how the first WrestleMania was really surrounded around, like, a lot of famous people? I think they might have had some, but I don't think there was a ton, was it?
Isn't this the one Little Richard? Yeah, here we go. Little Richard saying,
Oh, there's the celebrities. Bill Clinton was there. Donnie Wahlberg and Bill Clinton were there. So, I stand corrected.
no, wait, who is this? This is
Rhonda Shear.
Rhonda Shear, and there's Lou Albano. Burt Reynolds.
Yep, Sharon Stone. Nice.
Yeah, I don't think so. Do you have any comments on the Randy Savage Crush feud of early '94?
Well, you want to talk about crappy finishes. Remember that finish where
When he tied him up by the foot,
Yeah, and he hung him up by his feet.
and then he fell.
What a bad match that was. I can't think of a worse person for Randy Savage to have to work with at WrestleMania 10 than Crush. I mean, that sucks for him.
I think he and Crush were good friends behind the scenes, and I think he wanted to help his friend, but Crush didn't seem to get elevated from that. It's like he stayed right where he was.
Well, if he really wanted to help him, wouldn't he let him win?
It's a good question. Earthquake and Atom Bomb.
Is Earthquake's trunks there just say Quake?
Looks that way, yeah.
That is awesome. That is so 90s. Just Quake. Just shorten
Well, there was a
everything.
video game around that time called Quake, right?
Was it?
Yeah. Maybe late 90s. Doink the Clown. I know you're a big Doink and Dink fan.
A doink and a dinker.
Yep. And you're a big Burt Reynolds fan, I know. And I get to ask you some trivia questions.
All right,
Everyone always loves this.
Oh, what's on this
Who was
chair?
Who was recently referred to as the Pineapple Head?
Who put gum in my chair? What?
Who was recently referred to as the Pineapple Head?
Call me dimwit and put gum in my chair?
I said
even come
I
here?
said dead-eyed.
Whatever
I didn't
it is.
say dimwit.
Pineapple Head? That's SpongeBob SquarePants, isn't it?
I think he lives in a pineapple. He's not Pineapple Head.
Who is it? No, say it. Give it to me again. I'm pissed off.
Who was referred to as the Pineapple Head?
Pineapple Head. Quang?
Crush.
Oh shit. Okay. Now you've done it.
As a tough teenager, Diesel used to hang out in truck stops. Why?
Because his father was a truck driver, and now he's following in his father's footsteps.
To challenge the truck drivers to fights.
Oh, okay.
Where did the 1994 Royal Rumble take place?
Boy, I'm betting 1,000 today. I've told you before. Don't ever ask me where a venue is.
Providence, Rhode Island. You've been to Providence, Rhode Island.
Yeah, but nobody cares where the Royal Rumble takes place.
We went through Providence with your brother on the way to Boston. Remember that? We went through Providence, Rhode Island.
Royal Rumble 94 is probably my favorite Royal Rumble.
And you don't even remember where it was.
If you go to that show from top to bottom, it's entertainment the entire time. That finish to that Undertaker Yokozuna casket match, that's one of my favorite finishes in the history of the wrestling business.
What label does Lex Luger look for before he buys anything?
America. Made in America. Made in USA.
Made in the USA.
Made in
Very
USA.
good.
I got one. Thank you for letting me continue until I got one. I would have gotten the other ones, but I'm so upset about...
Well, you said Royal Rumble 94 is one of your favorite shows, and you don't even know where it took place.
The way this is being presented today, the way I'm being treated, I'm here to work. I'm here to put on a good show for everybody. Everybody's tuned in to see, not just me, but you, but mostly me. And you've put gum in my seat. You've called me a dimwit.
I said dead-eyed.
A dung beetle, or whatever you called me.
I said dead-eyed. You're a little dead-eyed and a little dull.
Well, no wonder. I had to come out here. What is on this chair?
Is there a reason why you're wearing a 1950s style hat that you wear when you sleep?
You've been talking about the hat all day. I'm bald. I was going for a new look. I was going for all day long. I've been hearing it. I'm going for a new look.
When you show up and you're wearing your hat that you wear when you sleep, that Fred Mertz used to wear on I Love Lucy when you're in bed.
I have a tan line that I didn't like, and I wanted to wear a hat today, and the makeup person didn't show up. These chairs are covered in gum.
Owen Hart is the real Federation champion.
Well, that's what I've been trying to tell you. When you say, Ryan, what did you love about 94? I made the King of Fart sign because I liked Owen Hart, but I also like to hate Owen Hart.
So do you think Owen Hart should have... Would you have preferred Owen Hart to beat Bret Hart in the cage at SummerSlam?
Did he beat Bret Hart?
Would you have... I say, would you have preferred it?
He beat Bret Hart.
Would you have preferred him to win the title at that time?
Explain to me how Owen Hart at WrestleMania 10 beats Bret Hart clean as a whistle. And then by SummerSlam, we're still calling Bret Hart the champion. And then he can't just have another wrestling match because, oh no, Bret Hart's been proven that he can't beat Owen Hart in a wrestling match. He's got to put it inside of a steel cage, bring all his family at ringside, his father to ringside.
But that's Owen's family too.
Everybody knows that Owen Hart is the Black Heart, and they've been wanting to keep him down for the greater good of Bret Hart. It's just like Hoist Gracie and the Gracie family.
I don't think Owen Hart...
No one gets above Bret Hart.
I don't think Owen Hart was the Black Heart until he attacked Shawn Michaels in '97.
Everyone knows from the time High Energy began that Owen Hart was the Black Heart. That's why they put him with Jim Neidhart and let Bret Hart put a rocket ship on his back, send him into space with the world belt, and try to hide him from the real talent. Owen could talk better. Owen could wrestle better. Owen had it all.
But he dropped Steve Austin on his head.
Probably was a little funnier looking. Owen was a little funnier looking.
He dropped Steve Austin on his head at SummerSlam, though.
This is the problem I have with you and Steve Austin. It's 2020. You both are doing these shows. You're doing podcasts, and you both want closure on this incident, and you're never going to get it because Bret's never going to admit it, and everybody else is dead.
If you look at that footage of Owen holding Steve Austin in that position, I don't see how he could have thought that he could drop the seated position and not hurt Steve Austin. That was really reckless to do that move.
It's SummerSlam.
Hurt everybody is what you're saying.
I'm not saying you got to lay it on the line. Owen laid it on the line.
Do you remember Sports Illustrated Championship football and baseball? Yokozuna says the game hits harder than his Bonsai drop. Yoosh. Yoosh.
STDs?
STD's program pads. It's a little ahead of the time.
That is.
This game hits harder than my Bonsai drop. Yoosh.
Yoosh. What is that? What is yoosh?
I guess that's what he says before he sits on you.
Huh. That's cool. Atrocity.
Atrocity. IRS destroys part of Tatanka's heritage.
Is this IRS?
No, I think that's Chief J Strongbow, isn't it?
On the ground?
Yeah.
I was going to say, IRS got a hell of a bald spot.
See? IRS has taken the ceremonial headdress.
Oh, okay.
See what's happened?
How did this work out?
Hey, look, it's for you. We can make a personal phone call to anyone you want by name.
Can someone explain something to me about this right now? Is this... I thought... IRS in Tatanka. Tatanka turned on...
Mike Rotundo.
Let me figure it out. What year is this?
1994.
Who am I here? You all have got me so worked up today that I don't even know what year I'm in. Because it's like going into a time machine when you're doing these
You're
things.
thinking of Rick Martel when he took the feathers and put them on his beret. That was like 92.
When did Tatanka turn on Lex Luger? Is that after this?
SummerSlam 94.
Is that after this?
Yeah, because this is June of 94.
Oh, but I thought IRS and Tatanka had a thing later on too, or this was it, the only thing between IRS and Tatanka. I'm thinking IRS and Razor.
IRS and Ted DiBiase were Money Incorporated. And then Tatanka joined the $1 Million Corporation. So maybe you're thinking that they have some kind of connection through Ted DiBiase.
Maybe. I'm confused by this storyline. It's like
I'm going to call this number here.
all right.
Let's see if we can...
I need a minute. Just give me a minute.
I'm going to call this number, and would you like Lex Luger to give you a call?
Do I get to choose?
Yeah. You want Lex Luger?
Yeah, give me Lex Luger.
Okay, let's see who,
That's who I would have chose anyway.
let's see who we have here.
The call you are attempting to place is not allowed from this line.
That's
Please
a
dial
shame.
611 for customer service or dial 1-800.
Well, that's a shame. It didn't go through.
Wait a minute. You can actually call one of the wrestlers, and you only have to pay $9.95 to talk to him? You literally get to talk to him, or do you hear like a recording?
You pick the greeting that you want. Birthday, anniversary, congratulations, get well, friendship, holidays, special occasions. And then the name of the recipient. So I think probably what happens is Randy Savage says, hey, Jason, happy birthday, kid. And then, hey Hector, happy birthday. And then he like does a whole bunch at once. I'm guessing, and then they just send it the recording. I'm guessing that's probably how it does. Randy Savage, I don't think, is personally making all those calls. Wouldn't you think?
That sounds like an easy way to... How much money do you think that Randy Savage would get on that?
$10 per call.
Do you think he gets, what, half?
I don't know. Probably not.
How many happy birthday calls would you make at $5 per call? Would you just sit here all day and make it happy birthday calls? And that'd be your living?
Who would want to hear happy birthday from me?
Me?
Would you pay me $5 for it?
Sure.
Okay. Yokozuna and Earthquake from Dojo to Danger Zone are former sumos on a collision course.
Earthquake was a sumo?
John Tenta.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I saw John Tenta at a hotel in Philadelphia, and I tried to say hello to him, and he ignored me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you press really hard for that? Did you like...
No, I said, hey, Earthquake, how's it going? And he just stared and ignored me. Oh,
Do you think that if you...
What are you going to do?
There's probably times that if you were... You would get sick of that, right? If you were like... Had people coming up to you.
I don't think I was who Earthquake wanted to hear from. Earthquake didn't probably get in the business to have me say happy birthday to him.
Fair enough. What if you were like an 18-year-old girl?
He'd probably listen.
Yeah, you probably would.
Well, he's passed now.
Well, we won't talk bad about him. We'll do like Steve Austin does on his shows, and we won't speak ill of the dead. I like what Bret Hart does, where he tries to bring up all the stuff that a dead person did. Like, he can't let it bury with him. I'm saying this like it's a bad thing about Bret Hart, but I really like this. And we talk bad about the dead people because they're not here to defend themselves. I like that.
If someone does something when they're alive, just because they're dead doesn't mean they didn't do it.
That's summed up. That's what I was trying to say. He said it in a less a-holy way than me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you think Vince McMahon liked the Fan Fest and having to shake some hands and everything? Think he enjoyed that?
I think he's thinking cha-ching, cha-ching, money in the hand, babe.
It's very rare to have a CEO of a company kind of sit out there and shake some hands, though.
That's really nice.
Yeah, it is.
Well, at this point, he was announcing.
94, he'd do some
Yeah,
announcing.
with
yeah.
Raw.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's right. So he was kind of he was a personality.
I know you love Bob Holly. Do you want to say a few words of Thurman Plug?
You know what? I give Bob Holly credit for having this race car character and then sticking around, and actually getting to be in some pretty memorable stories, like during that hardcore division during the Attitude Era.
But specifically, Thurman Plug. Do you have a comment on Thurman Plug?
I did not like it. I wasn't upset about it, but I did not like it.
This is one of everyone's favorite segments because I'm going to ask you one of the questions from Pin 'em Down, and you get to answer it, and you also get to do an impression. So this is kind of all of your talents.
Okay.
It's improv. It's
Unbelievable.
It's accent. Lex Luger. Why did you decide to become the American original instead of the narcissist?
Well, what you got to understand is that when I'm always a guy that's going to have these rippling pecs, unbelievable biceps. But what I didn't have, and I didn't have correct, was my attitude.
Oh, that's
but
nice.
now I'm fighting for the right reasons. I'm fighting for America.
I didn't know how you were going to do a Lex Luger impression, but that's actually not bad. Hey, Jeff Jarrett, you say you're the greatest singer in country music. Why don't you ever sing in the ring?
Well, what do you think you are asking me a question like that? Of course I'll sing in the ring if you pay me enough.
That's all right. Hey, Macho Man, I'm a massive fan of yours, and I love your great ring outfits. How many of them do you have?
Ooh, what a stupid question. Who do you think you are talking to me like that? Put that magazine down, brother, and don't ask me about my business. Yeah.
Randy Savage at this time is a fan favorite.
All right, ask me again.
This isn't Randy Savage threatening everybody. This is the fun-loving Randy Savage that goes to press conferences and smiles at the camera.
I like the Randy Savage that says, "Don't count me down, son." That's Steve Austin, but still, I like the way that.
Hey, dear Crush, why are you siding with Yokozuna?
Oh, brother. Now, if I was taking the side of a Hulk Hogan or an Ultimate that's Canadian.
No, that's Tito Santana.
I think I had something going good there. Anyway.
Hey, Doink, you said in an earlier article you'd tell us who you are. So who are you?
Well, I won't just tell you. I'll show you. Oh, that was pretty good. I think that was pretty funny. It was like a mime. I did like a mime thing.
This was one
That's
of...
got to be scary too. I could have played that Pennywise really well. I have unusual characteristics.
Well, you're a little dead-eyed. You've admitted it.
Son of a gun.
This is one of the first events ever at the United Center in Chicago. The SummerSlam. The United Center, some people call it the house that Jordan built because it was built during the height of the Bulls. It was
Bulls!
It was one of the first events to ever take place at the United Center.
I remember the Chicago Bulls. Do you know who was better than the Chicago Bulls in the 90s? The Houston Rockets. 2 back-to-back titles.
The Bulls had 6 titles in the 90s.
Not back-to-back.
They had 3 back-to-back at 2 different times.
I don't know. I remember the Rockets being pretty good. Remember Hakeem Olajuwon?
Well, it's kind of like the heartbeat of America. It's Lex Luger having fun in the sun at one of his favorite amusement parks.
You know, sometimes when I'm out there and after I get my 4-hour workout in and get done eating all the vitamins and... Well, that's Hulk Hogan.
You know, even here, Lex Luger looks like this is a waste of his time. He's got a smug expression.
I always thought that. I was trying to do me, but I was gonna start doing Lex Luger again. I don't know what I was doing.
Go ahead, do you.
I'm gonna do me. I always thought that Lex Luger was supposed to be the next Hulk Hogan because I always thought his character was kind of like.
They were trying to make it a version of
But
Hulk
Hulk
Hogan.
Hogan was like the American hero, but you didn't have to drape him in an American flag to show that he was an American hero.
He waved the American
Lex-
flag sometimes.
You didn't have to drape him in it.
There's
Lex
pictures
Luger-
of him being draped in it.
Son of a. What I'm saying is, Lex Luger, you had to dress him in the American flag to show everybody this is the character we're trying to represent. Hulk Hogan would be it, and you'd know it just by looking at him.
Hulk Hogan more charismatic than Lex Luger. I don't think anyone would disagree with that.
That's what I'm saying. If you put Lex Luger in the red and yellow, you wouldn't necessarily know. He would just be Greg Valentine. You know what I mean? Like if you put him in yellow trunks, he would just be Greg Valentine. He wouldn't be Hulk Hogan.
I've always said I like the idea of the Lex Express and the guy getting in the bus to travel the country and drum up support for his title shot. I don't think Lex Luger's the guy for that, though. And I know that's 93 and this is 94, but...
Right.
I love that idea. I really like that idea a lot.
Yeah.
You know who would have been great at that? Dusty Rhodes.
That's true.
Yeah.
They tried something like that with Dusty. I don't think Vince, in the sense of the common man thing,
He wasn't in the bus.
he was doing those vignettes.
But he wasn't in the bus. I'm
I
talking
don't-
about the bus.
Because I don't think Vince McMahon could push or pull the trigger on a guy like Dusty Rhodes because he doesn't understand a guy like Dusty Rhodes. He doesn't understand
Well,
the fat body but with a soulful attitude.
There's no doubt about
he
it.
just wants a muscular body.
you put Lex Luger with no shirt on hitting a pose on a poster, and you put Dusty Rhodes doing the same thing. One of them moves the needle, and the other one doesn't. There's no doubt about that.
Sometimes what's best for your likes are not the best of what everybody likes.
Lex Luger looks better on an 8x10 than Dusty Rhodes does. We both agree with that, probably.
Yeah.
I think the world would agree with that.
Oh, I'm not. Yes, I agree with that.
But as far as a total package, pun intended, with Lex Luger, Dusty Rhodes had the charisma and the attitude, and he drew people in. Whereas Lex Luger, even in this, where he's supposed to be like all American Lex Luger, he looks so smug in that picture. Like it's a waste of his time being in that go-kart.
Do you know what Hogan was? The perfect hybrid of both.
And imagine how much bigger he would have been if he had like Kevin Nash's hair.
It'd been too much.
It'd been too much.
It'd been too much.
Yeah, it might have been too much.
Because somebody can't have everything.
You don't get everything in life.
You can't have everything. Some people get a lot, but you can't have everything.
Right. So Ryan, June 1994. What do you think?
Love it. A lot of fun. I don't think it was maybe the greatest time they would say in wrestling, but I think for me, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it very much. How about you? Did you enjoy it?
Do you have any final?
Have you enjoyed this?
Do you have any final
'Cause
words?
I gotta say, I mean, this has been really rough for me.
I don't understand why you need to show up with the Fred Mertz sleeping cap on. It looks a little silly and a little unprofessional. That's all I'm saying.
What am I supposed to do? I gotta freshen this thing up. I got a tan line. You made me sit in gum. You've called me a dipshit. You've done everything you can to try to push me off this program today, or at least that's how it feels to me.
You've admitted.
I don't know if I'm coming back.
You've admitted in the past you're a little dead-eyed. I'm not saying anything you haven't said about yourself.
Sleepy-eyed. Sleepy-eyed.
Well, what's
not
the difference?
dead-eyed. Well, I have been dead-eyed in the past, but I'm not dead-eyed now. I can't be.
What's the difference between sleepy-eyed and dead-eyed?
Sleepy-eyed is just what I am. It's how my face is. It's like, well, you saw my baby picture. My eyes kind of, I don't have to do it. My eyes they go a little low. But dead-eyed is like I have nothing to live for, and that scares me because I've been there too.
No, there are people whose eyes just kind of look a little dull.
Okay, but
Jerry Seinfeld has kind of dead, dull eyes.
But sometimes you would say about somebody they were dead behind the eyes. It was like they had nothing to live for.
That's different than dead-eyed.
That is dead-eyed.
Jerry Seinfeld is dead-eyed. And Jerry Seinfeld's almost a billionaire, so I would say he has something to live for.
So what do you call someone, so you say dead behind the eyes?
That's different than dead-eyed.
We had a misunderstanding.
Yeah. But you are both.
Who put the gum in my chair?
I'm out of here.
I'm out of here.